Hello, my name is Joseph Fahey, and I'm going to walk you through some of the initial steps to interacting with the Carmen online modules. I am working in Mozilla Firefox, so if you are working in Chrome or in Internet Explorer, the interfaces may be slightly different, but I think you'll get the general idea. And then if you do have questions using those different browsers, feel free to contact me, and if I can't answer your question, I'll refer you to our IT specialists. Let's start by looking at the front page. When you open up Carmen and you open up this class, Theater 2100, this is the page you should see. Now you may see a few line items that are slightly different than the version I'm looking at, but again, you'll get the general idea from what I'm going to talk you through. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the first window, Syllabus and Introduction. Here's a brief overview of what the course will be about, and then a series of attachments. These include review sheets for each of our exams, the script of the first play that you will read in a PDF format, and then the syllabus itself that you can open and print out and have available to you throughout the course. I do recommend, if you're not able to attend the opening night session where I am handing out a paper copy of the syllabus, that you print out your own paper copy and have it available to you to refer to on a regular basis. Continuing down the screen on the left-hand side, you'll see a calendar of upcoming events. These are typically discussion events or quiz events. And the way that our units will work after the first unit is typically in the following manner. You'll read a play outlined on the syllabus, and then you will take a 5-question quiz based on the content of that play. Once you've taken that quiz, that unlocks the unit material for you. You'll go into the unit, you will go through printing out a handout, reading a brief introduction to the play or some aspect of the play, viewing online lecture material. It's usually an audio lecture with accompanying PowerPoints. Typically toward the end of that lecture material, you'll be given 1 or 2 short videos that demonstrate some of the materials that were dealt with in that lecture. And then after that, there will be a discussion forum in which you will have a chance to answer between 1 and 3 questions that I have prompted you with, and also to respond to questions or statements raised by other students in the course. Next, if we move over to the right-hand side of the screen in front of you, you'll see a screen version of the syllabus calendar. You have this exact calendar on your syllabus, I believe it's pages 3 to 5, that lay out for you the assignments in order. It's important that you keep mindful of these assignments and when they are due, and that you don't fall behind. We have rigged the system so that you can work ahead in the syllabus, but you still have to do all of the units in sequence. You can't jump from unit 1 to unit 3. You have to make sure you move through them progressively up to the point of your first exam, and then the pattern continues through the second exam and then through the final exam as well. It's important to note that when you look at these deadlines, you'll see this little caption at the top of the screen here. For the online units, this deadline means that by 11:59 p.m. on the date identified, you should have completed all of the items in the unit. So for example, we'll jump down here to the Classical Theater and Culture unit. By 11:59 p.m. on the 18th of June, you should have read the play Antigone, which is available in one of your textbooks, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and any related Carmen handouts are usually 1 or 2 pages that describe some aspect of the production. Then complete the online unit that is associated with that play. In this case, there are 2 units, the Models of Analysis unit and the Greek and Roman Theater online unit. And then as part of those units, there will be lecture, video, and discussion. You want to complete all of those things, including discussion, before that deadline. So that doesn't mean that you should start the material on the 18th. It means you have to start somewhere after the 15th if you're going by the exact dating on the syllabus, but have everything completed by the 18th. And for the most part, that pattern repeats. You'll have about 2 or 3 days per unit in this condensed 7-week course. It is a pretty aggressive reading schedule and online lecture schedule, so you do need to keep up with it, and where you can, move slightly ahead of the schedule to be in good shape. Now I'm going to walk you through 2 ways to gain access to the unit materials. We'll deal with the first unit, and after that, after you've learned how to access materials through the first unit, the pattern essentially repeats for the remaining units, with the one difference that for every other unit that follows, there is a quiz that you take to start the unit. This first unit, this introductory unit, there is no quiz to initiate it. So the first way we'll do this is through the calendar screen. You see down here on the left-hand side, lower part of the column, you have a series of different dates. If we open the first date, here we have due on June 12th, you will see a list of different unit materials. Start always from the top, and then, as we'll see, you work through a sequence of go to the next buttons. So I'm going to open this first unit, and this little theater mask page will come up on every new unit, identifying the things you're going to do in the following unit. Review this, watch this, and then watch a final video that summarizes some key points from the materials that we've covered. Up here in the upper right, you'll see go to next topic. You'll click through that repeatedly as you move through a unit. So in the first thing that comes up after you go to next topic is a handout. I strongly encourage you to print out the handout. It's usually 1 page, sometimes 2, and have it in front of you during the lecture and take your notes directly on the handout. I will refer to these handouts repeatedly during the lecture, or I will expect that you would have read those handouts and incorporate the understanding you have of those handouts into the commentary I'm going to make about the unit. To print these, it's relatively simple. Click on the download button, and then you'll open it with the reader indicated or a different reader if your computer requires that. Click OK, the unit opens or the window opens, and then from there you can simply either go to the printer icon or from the file menu, the drop down, print the item that you have there ready for you. Okay, so let's imagine that you've printed that out. I'm going to close this. We're back to the handout page. I'm going to the next topic. Fairly typically, let's look for a moment at, you have my voice and my picture starting up, and then you have a PowerPoint with a synchronized audio, usually an intro page, and then a series of different pages that lay out the different concepts for the unit. Now in later units you may have 6 or 7 of these screens. For these early units are only 1 or 2 because the concepts are relatively simple and brief. You would play this through, and as it ends, if it doesn't default to the next screen, then you simply go up to this tab and click the next tab and start it again. Let's start at the top with the producer. Okay, at this point in the lecture, I would have expected that you have that handout, that chart in front of you, and I'll take you through some of the key players, expecting that you're making notes as you move along. That will become an important study guide for you by the time you get to the midterm exam. Let's assume now that you have finished this lecture and you're moving on to the next topic. This again is fairly typical. What will happen is that a video will come up with a brief description of the source of the video, and then several things that I would ask you to look for as you're viewing the video. If you scroll down here, you'll see a start button. Okay, and it begins. Also, you have the option to make it full screen. Hit escape when you want to move out of full screen mode, and then once you've watched the video you can click to the next topic. In this case there are 2 short videos. This is from a 90-minute documentary. I've excerpted 2 sections of it to give you a sense of how this production begins its Broadway life, and then in the last 10-minute clip how it comes to a conclusion, at least by the time the show opens, and then again a brief introduction of what you're looking for, and then a chance to view the rest of that video. Once you've viewed the video, go to next topic. And for this first unit, there's actually a combination of 2 very short units. This is atypical. You would not see this happen in the rest of these units. You get a second intro page, review this, watch this, and then at the end of the combined 2 units here, you'll have a discussion forum. That as a typical feature in our units. They always end with a discussion. So in this case, you've gotten the sense of what you're going to be dealing with in this unit. Go to next topic. Another one-page handout. You would print this out in the same way I showed you before, and you'd have that handout in front of you as you begin the lecture. Let's talk for a moment about... I'll pause it again. Same thing. You'd work through the lecture screen at a time. Here's a second screen. Once you've listened to the audio in that lecture, you've taken your notes on your handout or on your separate notebook, you move to the next topic. Same pattern we saw in the first mini unit. You have a brief description of an excerpt from a film that clarifies some of the concepts dealt with in this unit. You would watch the video, taking notes as you go. Afterwards, go to next topic. And this is the final part of the unit, final part of all of our units, a brief discussion opportunity. What you would do, and this is outlined in the syllabus, is answer one of the prompts that I have given you. You'll see 3 questions here. I'll give you an example here. Click on my question. It opens that forum. How did the actions of the director, actors, playwright, or any other production team member differ from what you may have expected? Click on compose. Separate window opens, and you would want to give it a subject that is unique to your opinion. Don't just say answer to question 1. And then down here, you'd want to type in your answer, your response to my question I've asked you to think about, based on the material made available to you in lecture, in the handouts, and in the video that you watched. So you want to be an informed reader and discussion participant. You don't want to offer vague, unsupported opinions. You want to draw on specific examples from the material you've been dealing with to get the best discussion score possible, but also to prompt the most vigorous discussion between you and your colleagues. Once you've finished typing your message, you would, and if you wish, you can add a file. Sometimes later on I ask if you want to include a picture of something that demonstrates the point you're making. You're welcome to do that. That's where you'd use something like this. But once you've composed your message, you click the post button and it shows up ready for everyone else to view. I'm going to exit out of here. Okay, I've put us back to the main discussion screen. As I said, you want to answer one of the prompts I've given you, and you want to respond to at least one of the statements made by another student. That's the minimum participation that's the minimum participation expected of you to get a passing grade in the discussion portion of our class. Answer one of my prompts, respond to the answer offered by another student in one of the other forums. So say you answer number 1, you'd be expected to deal with another student statement in either number 2 or number 3. Once you have done that, you would go to next topic. And that takes you on to the next unit. At this point, I would go back to the main page of Carmen. You do that by clicking on this title up here and assess where you are in your progress through the course. See, for example, here's our next unit, the unit that includes the Wilson Goldfarb introduction, but also the play Bang Bang You're Dead. Once you have accomplished the materials required for one unit, come back out to this main page, assess where you are, assess whether you're ready to move on. As I said, typically you'd be taking a quiz first, and the quiz requires that you read the play. And I'm going to briefly show you what that quiz page looks like, even though you haven't read the play that it will be relevant to. We'll start here with the Bang Bang You're Dead quiz. When you're ready to take a quiz, you click on this. It comes up with this screen. Now it's missing one thing because I'm in an instructor looking through the student mode, but you would typically see a button somewhere in this space that says Start Quiz. The way these quizzes work, like I said, you need to read the play first. Once you've read it, you click on Start Quiz. It gives you 5 minutes. There are 5 questions. They're multiple choice, relatively simple questions like which of these 4 characters is still alive at the end of the play. Nothing to trick you, just simply to demonstrate that you have made an honest effort to read the play. And then once you have taken the quiz, you'll click the Save button. It will record your score, and then whether you've passed or whether you failed, you're given access to the unit material. The final thing I'd like to show you is how to access the unit material from a different way. What we just talked about was accessing it through the calendar. The other way to access it, which some of you who've used Carmen in the older version may be more familiar with, is accessing it through content. So I look on my syllabus calendar here, I see that I've got the production team organization chart unit coming up. I can go up to content, click on it, and it will give you a running tally of things that need to be done for that unit. Again, you want to work from top to bottom, go in order. This will tally as you go along how much you've done. Now, since I just worked through the unit, it's showing that I'm all done, but I'm going to start it again anyway. Once I click on that, you're going to see the same screens we just looked at, and again, the same approach to moving section to section or topic to topic through the portions of the unit.
Let's look.
Okay, so that should give you a pretty good introduction to how to gain access to this material. If you have questions along the way, feel free to email me. That's usually the best way to communicate with me, or give me a call, and I will help you where I can. If it's something that is beyond my technical capability, I'll refer you to one of our IT specialists. I think that's it. I hope you enjoy your experience with me. I look forward to working with you in the course, and let me know, like I said, if you have any questions.